Hello and good morning. Going live here, August 28th, 2021. The silence over here is a little unnerving, so hopefully it's not gonna get too bumpy. I got to follow up on a couple previous topics and stuff, but not much happening. Just more fighting. There's more fighting over there, Afghanistan. I didn't get to talk much about the troops that were killed or the soldiers that were killed, but I saw this Daily Caller article this morning where the U.S. has launched airstrikes against ISIS-K planner in Afghanistan after deadly terror attack. The U.S. issued a reprisal strike Friday against ISIS-K after a suicide bomber killed 13 U.S. service members and at least 170 others in Kabul, Afghanistan. So just to follow up, as I was being a little unclear, or I didn't really say things perfectly or go as deeply into some things as I wanted to in order to help people think clearly. I was getting into Quran verses and Islamic doctrine and stuff. I had talked about Surah 9 Ayah 5 and maybe confused some people as to the use of the word idolater, and this is in regards to jihad as a perpetual command of the Muslim in certain circumstances. And so that word is generally understood not only as idolater but polytheist. Applies to Jews and Christians. The word means an unbeliever in Islam, basically, and is kafir in Arabic, kafir. So this is often said as infidel, pagan, rejecter, denier, disbeliever. So depending, on what translation you read, that's what you're going to see. I looked it up this morning. I went to the exact word in Arabic, exact usage. Looks like shin ra kaf, and so that's a form of kafir, basically. And so that gets into the kafir doctrine in Islam too. Kafir has a lot of understood things about it in that religion. Kafirs are to be treated differently, it says in Islam. So generally speaking, kafirs are people that disbelieve in the God of Islam specifically. You have to accept the tenets of Islam and say the shahada. You have to say the shahada and stuff in order to be considered one. You have to believe in Muhammad as a prophet, etc. Okay, pausing here, just flip through what I have here. Some distractions. Have some distractions over there. But anyway, so I'm still addressing Quran verse or the Surah 9 Ayah 5, and we're talking about the use of infidel or idolater as meaning Jews and Christians. So the command to go and do that and make jihad, kill the unbelievers, it applies to Jews and Christians, and I have it right here as well. So if you read down the surah longer, the whole surah 9 or whatever, you'll find here that it says to fight non-Muslims, including Christians and Jews, until they are subdued, fight the Christians and Jews until they submit, as they have corrupted Allah's teachings, and they are corrupt. So it says fight those, and this is not what I believe, but it says fight those who believe in Allah. This is quoting it exactly. Fight those who believe not in Allah, nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, even if they are people of the book, meaning Christians, until they pay the jizya, meaning the tax, with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. Okay? So it is a perpetual command. It does apply against Christians and Jews. They were told in this to kill them, basically. I mean, elsewhere here, that if they are to be strict to the Quran, they don't really take war prisoners first and then take slaves from the war prisoners. They're supposed to kill many people first. So I understand why the congressman was saying that. But many things can happen out there, so if something's permitted, then it's possible that that could happen, or if these are general practices, then it's possible that you know rape could happen, many other mistreatments of people. So killing is more likely, and that's what we're seeing here in general overall. So I feel a little tight this morning, a little tension in my neck, basically. What else do I got here for you? I've been talking about the local vaccine mandate on and on and on. Oh, I saw this article also in the Daily Caller. Exclusive. Representative Andy Biggs, House Republicans, introduced legislation to block funds to certain entities mandating COVID-19 vaccine. That means the representative with the House Republicans are trying to introduce that legislation to block certain funds or block funds to certain entities mandating COVID-19 vaccines, because they shouldn't do that, basically. I don't know if it was my cry they heard or others or everyone, but that shouldn't be going on. So now, if you're reading the article, Republican Arizona Representative Andy Biggs introduced legislation Friday that would prohibit entities that receive COVID-19 relief funds from forcing their employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine, and also require them to return any funds they receive from the government, end quote. Now, that's really great. They should do that. Put that bill through and try to stop these Dems. Try to stop these Dems from enforcing that kind of rule. Now, like what I think really. Someone's being a jerk in the background. I'm sorry about that. They won't address me directly. So. He's just having fun. Okay, so what I think really goes on is like a lot of people in the past, let's say the 90s, the early aughts, and so forth, trying to foresee when things got bad in society, couldn't believe that it wouldn't be the Republicans doing that. When we think of people that are going to come and create a bunch of rules and hindrances and strict mandates to follow, and create a bunch of I guess that's what I'm trying to say, regulation, overreach on businesses, overreach, encroaching on people's lives, slowly encroaching, government. They thought perhaps that the Republicans would be the one making things that strict and making things that hard on people and placing burdens on people's shoulders. Come to find out, it's the Dems doing that. This would create a lot of silence and a lot of awkwardness, that perhaps they lived their whole political lives in vain, thinking that perhaps it was the Republicans going to be that bad. We find out it's the Dems creating a bunch of rules that are hard to follow and being very strict on everything, and even doing it improperly, as I've been explaining, will make people upset deep down, even when they're not consciously thinking about what it is. You sense the tension subconsciously. You sense the internal conflict in your position. It will create a lot of silence and awkwardness, basically. So, in case you haven't noticed, I'm not in line with this push to eradicate uniqueness and this push to make everyone exactly the same. It's from stupid idiots who don't do what they say and they don't say what they do. They don't say as they do and do as they say, or whatever. You praise uniqueness and diversity and try to make everyone the same at the same time. Ridiculous. So let me read from this a little bit longer. This quote, is the senator or the congressman. So, now companies are bullying those same tax-paying employees into taking a vaccine that they may not be comfortable with. My bill will stop those companies from enforcing those mandates by requiring them to return the relief funds they received. They don't allow their employees to make their own personal health care decisions, end quote. Yeah, you think so? And this is just applying to employee mandates. We're not addressing here the customer mandates that are being enforced in more liberal cities. So, okay. Well, I'm thankful that they're trying to do this. The House Republicans are doing anything good. It's really upsetting. What's this? Okay, I'm going to read this a little longer. More companies have mandated vaccines, or at least to those who are working in the office. For example, United Airlines announced early August that they will require all employees to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 by late October. First termination, Delta Airlines announced Wednesday that unvaccinated workers will be subject to additional charge of $200 a monthly health care plan starting in November. What a bunch of burdensome rules. Now that's end quote. Now, then we can talk about the cities and municipalities that are trying to enforce employee mandates too. San Francisco has a fully encompassing employee mandate starting in October that was pieced together with the customer mandate that the mayor did, which started to be enforced August 20th. So I'm not along with the stupid people who are trying to decrease human value or try to say that you can treat people any way you want to just because you can get away with it, or just because you see other instances of mistreatment of people, you see other instances of people's human rights being taken, you see other instances of people's rights being trampled upon, and that makes you think you have permission to treat people badly. Well, that's because you have zero ethics yourself. If you think that way, okay, you don't. It doesn't allow people to just treat each other the way, or just treat each other poorly. You know what I mean? That's really sick. So I'm not down for that either. Anyway, I thought I ranted here. It's Saturday. Much else? Not much in the news really, except the war or the battle. No, it's not really a war yet. No, I don't want to redo last night's. Suddenly just a little upset. Let's just erase that. And thank you for listening.